Hey, what's up and welcome everyone to another Season 3 Warzone video. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you the 10 best loadouts that you should be using in Warzone. Now, these are guns that are statistically proven to be the fastest time to kill. They are true meta loadouts that I would feel comfortable running in my own gameplay and even in tournaments. Now, if you guys enjoy this style of video, make sure to do me a favor and drop a like. Now more than ever, I am in a true war with the algorithm, trying to get pushed back into YouTube's good standing, so do me a favor and drop a like on this video. As we're rolling through this, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I want you to know that I am a very analytical YouTuber. I created the Warzone Academy where I help players improve their gameplay through in-depth guides like this where I review guns, but I also review your gameplay, give you tips of how to, traverse the map a little bit faster through some jump spots and flanks, and so much more. So if you find some value out of today's video, make sure to like it. Now, before we get into the first loadout, I do want to shout out real quick. As you can see in the background, my boys over at G Fuel sent me a stinking fridge. I've been a huge fan of G Fuel for a long time, and they've been a huge supporter of this channel. If you've ever been looking for a moment to try G Fuel, now is your chance. Code Isaac is 30% off for a limited time. If you don't know what G Fuel is, it's a fresh drink that you can use to get a little bit more cracked out in Warzone. It's full of antioxidants, B vitamins, and a little bit of caffeine as well to give you that little extra edge after a long day at work, or to get you halfway through your, Season 3 grind, whatever it may be. It's fresh, it's healthy, it's tasty, and code Isaac right now is 30% off. All right, without further ado, let's get into the 10 best loadouts for Season 3. Now, the very first one, I'm going to give you the best one right off the bat. I believe this to be the new meta. It's what I currently would run if I were to be in a tournament tomorrow. This would be my gun of choice. Now, we've all seen the AMAX before. It shoots absolute cinder blocks at range and is still very viable at medium range as well. And we just rock it with the mono suppressor, the longest barrel, commando foregrip, 45 round mag, and VLK optic. Now, I've seen some people, rock the Ranger foregrip. That helps a lot with vertical recoil. But as a player, man to man, you need to be able to control that vertical up and down recoil. Drag down on your thumbstick, drag down on your mouse, whatever it is. You cannot control side-to-side bounces. It's going crazy. It's too difficult to control. Human reaction time isn't fast enough, but you can control the trend of something going up. Throw on that commando foregrip, get rid of the horizontal bounce, and just pull this sucker down, and the AMAX is absolute king. Even the developers mentioned it's king in their recent patch notes, and they're talking about possibly patching it. Now, to pair with it, we have the fastest killing SMG. If you get headshots with the Bullfrog, nothing comes close. And so I've built the Bullfrog to be exactly that, a headshot machine. The Grew Suppressor and Task Force just makes sense for both damage range and bullet velocity, but you also get a little bit of strafe speed, which is really important. From there, I decided to rock the KGB Skeletal Stock because it gives me ADS firing movement speed, and more importantly, it gives me a faster sprint to fire time. Now, this will drastically hurt my hip fire, but the Bullfrog's value comes in headshot damage. So I'm building an entirely headshot damage dependent class. From there, you've got a lot of options. These two are interchangeable, but I opted for an optic because if you look at the Bullfrog, there's that kind of like chunky back sight, and you can sometimes lose some players in that. I don't want to risk that at all. I'm going for headshots. I'm going to hit them, so I went with a Microflex LED. The speed tep you can change around quite a bit. There's an option to add a hip fire laser on here if you want to increase your hip fire accuracy, because it gets a little bit wide with this attached. You can opt for the Spetsnaz grip if you really want to hit a laser, but the Bullfrog really doesn't move that much anyways, so I don't find you need that vertical and horizontal recoil control. And then the ammo, I feel like 50 rounds is enough, but you could up it if it's an issue for you. But I opted for the speed tape, a little bit snappier. I may change it out for an ammo in the future, but right now, hit your headshots and you're frying. The perks are going to be the same as they've been for the last year, and then Simtex and heartbeat sensor. I do have something coming up for a new lethal here in an upcoming video. I'm still doing some testing on it, but it might be the new meta. Okay, so from there, let's talk about number 2. Number 2 is Controller Gang's best friend. Now, if you guys don't already know, you can see in the background, I'm sponsored by Scuff. I do some work on the controller. I've dropped some absolute bombs. I think my best kill is like 38 kills with controller. This gun, I hate using the word broken, is broken on controller. I use the AMAX, I use the M13, M4, RAM, whatever. They're all kind of sticky on someone whenever you aim at them. You kind of feel your aim assist pulling on them. This gun is a magnet. I picked up my buddy's max level Krieg, and it did not move from the opponents. I don't know what it is with this gun, but it's the stickiest, that's the best way I can say it, stickiest gun in Warzone because the aim just sticks to your opponent. Now, I don't have mine max level. Like I said, I'm going to get to this max level here soon and make a dedicated video on it. But the way I would run this is pretty close to this. SoCal Eliminator would be changed out for the last suppressor. The Ranger barrel stays. The foregrip would be changed out for the Spetsnaz, which helps out. It's the second to last. That helps out with the, the field agent. It helps out with horizontal and vertical. You can change this for either a 45 or a 60 that comes later on. And then you can either rock the 3 times, or there is a SUSAT multi-zoom that does not move. I think it's broken. In the past, I've heard it's broken, and I tried it out, and it really didn't make that much of a difference. But it's not moving on a lot of these guns. I even tried it with the DMR, and the DMR, which is very, very, very bouncy now. DMR is garbage. Even the SUSAT on that turns the DMR into a damn near laser. So consider trying that out. Otherwise, the 3 times should work you out pretty well. From there, this gun is very close to my heart and very close to being meta. It is the LC-10. They buffed the bullet velocity recently on it, and it's an absolute dream. I've rocked the agency suppressor and task force, as we do with all SMGs. From there, I've got the field agent grip to make it a little bit more steady, because it's not as steady as the Bullfrog. The 45-round mag, but you can rock the 55-round mag. I need to see what the aim-down sight implications of this are, because the 45-round does not have that aim-down sight damage. And then I decided to rock the nose stock. As I talked about earlier, the nose stock, or the Raider stock, really hurts your hip fire spread. But you can rock the nose stock, which will give you the sprint to fire benefit, but it will not hurt your hip fire area as bad. We are fine with hip firing this gun because it's not as reliant on headshot damage as the Bullfrog. So I'm a little bit more comfortable rocking a nose stock on this and keeping that hip fire when I need it. Next up, number 3. I'm surprised every time I'm killed by it because my opponents never miss. The Growl. It was nerfed ages ago. It's kind of like the Bruin. You could throw the Bruin in here as well. It's still insane. I don't understand why it's so good. It literally has 0 recoil, and it's got the cleanest iron sights in the game. It's a classic loadout right here. If you haven't tried it in a while, it'll bring back some nostalgia, and it doesn't hit like a truck, but it doesn't miss, and it's very, very satisfying to use. From there, I'm pairing it up with a MAC-10, but built in a unique way. This was made by True Game Data. He built the fastest MAC-10 humanly possible, and this actually allows you to move faster than the train. You move faster than with your fists out, than with the ballistic knives out. You zoom with this gun. Agency, patrol grip, 53 round, laser, Raider stock, the fastest max speed movement, MAC-10. If you haven't tried this, you're zooming with this gun. It's a lot of fun. Now, I call this one disrespectful. Number 4 has actually been in the meta for a while. I've seen people win tournaments with this, most notably Bobby Poff, a friend of mine. The Stoner is insane, ladies and gentlemen. It hits like a truck, but more than that, you actually move pretty damn fast. When you throw on this task force and when you throw on this Raider, both of them give you aiming down movement speed. You probably felt it a little bit last season with some of the like the green Stoner on the ground or the blue Stoner on the ground. It's an LMG, but you're moving sometimes faster than you would with like a FAR. And so it's really nice. You've got to get good at counter strafing. You've got to get good at counter aiming, where you strafe left and your aim goes right, and you strafe right, your aim goes left. So you've got to get really good at like lining those up. But man, you move and you fry with this gun. Very minimal recoil with field agent grip, and the SUSAT zoom once again turns it into a complete beast. From there, this is disrespectful, but the Street Sweeper, as you've likely already found out this season, because we've got the gray, the green, the blue, and there's even a gold Street Sweeper. They're absolutely disgusting in the Warzone. Now, I currently don't have this unlocked. I actually had the Street Sweeper unlocked about a month before any other player in Warzone, and I'm going to show you a screenshot right now of what the Street Sweeper looks like and the loadout that I'll be using, because currently I don't have this thing max level, unfortunately. But I'll let that screenshot sit on screen. I did a lot of testing for this one. I went in. This is actually, because I got the weapon first, I did all the weapons testing before Jay got True Game Data, anybody. And this is the best loadout for the Street Sweeper. Next up, it's slept on. It hits as hard as the AMAX. The time to kill is actually better than the AMAX in some areas. And one area where the RAM really excels, it's got a very consistent fire rate. It's got a very consistent recoil. It doesn't bounce as much. It does climb and up to the left pretty hard. But the RAM surprisingly does a lot of damage to extremities. So when you're hitting legs, when you're hitting arms, it does more per bullet than the AMAX, and it's really, really satisfying. Or it's faster to kill than the AMAX, and it's really satisfying for that reason. You've got two options. There is an additional one that no one else uses, and it's the Cronin 2x2 Elite. Jay got us suggested using that, but personally, I don't like using that. It's supposed to have less recoil, but I'm a fan of the VLK optic. Mono, FSS Ranger, Commando, 50 round. The RAM, if you're a longtime member of the community, you know I love this thing. From there, the Gallo, we talked about it last season. The time to kill is stupid. The movement is stupid. And it's a little bit more mobile than the Street Sweeper, a little bit faster reload than the Street Sweeper. And this is the way I kit it out. So Agency Choke, Reinforced Heavy for max range, Soft Target Designator, because for some reason a flashlight gives you more effective damage range. No stock, and this is very important because shotguns have terrible sprint to fire speeds. You could rock the combat stock, which gives you a faster firing movement speed. So when you fire, you're actually like crazy fast across the map. But when you're trying to like jump a corner and snap sprint to fire, the no stock is very, very important. And then max ammo capacity. Number 6, because I could definitely turn this into a 45-minute video just by talking deep into the meta and my decision between every attachment, but I'm trying to help you out. If you enjoyed this video so far, make sure to do me a favor. Double check that like button and that sub button. The car. The car is king. If you're talking about quick scoping, the car is absolutely king. The new Swiss is nice. The Swiss K31 is sweet, but it does not stack up against the car in terms of aim down sight. Monolithic suppressor, and this is a mono suppressor. It's just a black diamond blueprint, so it's not that chunky boy. SynGuard Custom, the longest barrel possible. Tac Laser, faster aim down sight speed. Sniper Scope, once again. Not a chunky boy, but the Black Tie Affair, which gives me a very thin bezel. I also rock the Cross Thread Blueprint. And then finally, I've opted for, shout out Phase Blaze, the Precision Comb, which basically makes holding your breath irrelevant because the gun does not move with this attached. From there, this might replace the Bullfrog for me. And it probably, I don't want to say it, I'm in between this and the Bullfrog. This could be a double AR meta, much like the FFAR provided a double AR meta. Even though this looks like a chunky boy, like a really big gun, your movement with this is insane. The Grew Suppressor Spetsnaz Barrel once again causes that strafe speed. The Skeletal Stock causes that strafe speed and that ADS firing movement speed. So when you're shooting this gun, you're flying. The Spetsnaz Grip once again helps out with horizontal and vertical recoil. And 50 round mag. It's really, really nice. If you haven't picked it up on the ground already, the Farah is insane. It used to be really, really solid previously. J-Guy did some numbers on it, said it could be one of the best short-range weapons. However, the recoil was a little bit too strong for it to be too viable. Well, they made the recoil more controllable in the most recent update, and the Farah completely fries now. A lot of people, including like my buddy Z-Laner, are using the Farah as their secondary in their main loadout. So once again, this new meta could turn into AMAX Farah very, very easily. But right now, Farah, kind of my favorite. Next up, we have the long range. Why do we opt for the Tundra? The Tundra has a faster bullet velocity than the HDR and a faster aim down sight. So it beats the HDR in both fronts. If you're going for long range sniping, I prefer to go with the Tundra for right now. Combat recon from the most bullet velocity, same with the Wrap Suppressor. From there, the Raider pad gives me a faster sprint to fire time, which is sometimes important. If I'm sprinting, I need to pull that gun up really quick. The Speed Tape is going to give me a faster aim down sight, and the Patrol Grip is going to allow me to have a faster sprinting movement speed. You could trade either one of these out for like a, let's say, a 7-round mag. I would probably pull off the Patrol Grip and then run the gun like this if you did want a 7-round mag. From there, the Sarina, you're running the AK wrong. I'm going to make an entire video about this. The AK Cold War is terrible as a main AR. It's not too bad. Like, there's some moments where I feel like it's pretty good, but it's got a really bad horizontal shake. But dear Lord, up close, it fries, especially if you hit one headshot in there. It does very, very, very well. Grew Suppressor, ultralight for the faster strafe speed. You've got the Spetsnaz Grip for a little bit more recoil control, 45-round mag, and the Skeletal Stock, once again, for the sprint to fire and the ADS movement speed, so you're moving and zooming. You could rock the Spetsnaz Barrel instead of the ultralight. That is an option as well if you want to get a little bit more mid-range. But I'm running the ultralight right now just for that extra movement speed. If you were running it, maybe... I go back and forth. You know, if you're running it with a super long sniper like this, you might consider running the the Spetsnaz barrel. It does not look like an SMG sort of build. But I would go back and forth on that. I'll let you guys know what my decision is when I do a dedicated video on this. And then, yeah, you see it. Number 8, nerfed. It's still pretty nuts. We saw it all last season. I'm not going to go after it. The M16 is still very, very good. They nerfed some of the upper neck damage, so the neck doesn't do as much damage as it used to. They nerfed some of the chest damage, and they nerfed some of the fire rate, but I still have gotten 2-bursted by this gun. It still hits like a truck. You got to be a little bit more precise with it than you used to. It's not as forgiving. It's not as insane, but it is still very, very good. If you've picked up the AUG ground loot, there's like an orange AUG on the ground loot. You'll find out pretty quickly that gun still slaps. Same thing goes for the FFAR. They nerfed the aim down sight speed a little bit. They nerfed the range a little bit. They nerfed the max damage just slightly. But I have gotten gunned by this. Considering they nerfed the range, I am building this more for speed. So speed grip tape instead of, let's say, the field agent grip. Because this is going to be used as a close range weapon, especially in conjunction with the M16. So I'm not going to rock the field agent over the speed grip. From there, crazy, crazy underrated. I'm glad it's underrated, but man, if people started running this gun, Warzone would turn into a very, very rough spot. Monolith Expressor, the extended heavy barrel, the 3x optic, the snatch grip is vital for this class. And then the tac laser, I do not like to opt for the 200 round mag because very, very rarely are you going to get 200 round down range. I offer the tac laser to make it a little bit more snappy and usable in AR to LMG gunfights. But I promise you, the PKM hasn't been nerfed. It's still a very, very solid gun. The same thing can be said about the Cold War MP5, which is nasty. Once again, very heavily dependent on headshots, and it doesn't hang as well as the FARA does that we talked about earlier because the damage drop-off is a little bit past, the 15, 20, 30 meter range. It falls off, and it's a little bit shakier than the MAC 10, so I wouldn't put it as high as either of those two. But if you're up close and you're gunning, Cold War MP5 still absolutely slaps. One of the best time to kills of all SMGs. I would put it for sure within the top 5, and this is how I would kit it out. I don't like the iron sight on it though, so I would rock a microflex. If you do like the iron sight, you can, throw a stock on there or a faster rear grip, but I really do not like the iron sight. And then finally, man, I am trying so hard to get this video done as fast for you as possible because I could definitely ramble about these for hours. So if you enjoyed today's video, you know the drill. The last one. This is the Ghost class that I would currently be using. Now, I call it this Ghost Cheater class, but I would rock Ghost. This is the shield that I would be using, obviously, if I'm running into a cheater, because it's a reality we have to accept. And then I'm going to be rocking the M19, which actually have a faster time to kill akimbo than the FFAR. You can melt someone with this. This is J-God's personal class, 5 milliwatt laser, 32 round mags, extended barrel, akimbo, and lightweight trigger. And you can just spam through these things like an absolute maniac. If you don't have akimbos unlocked, which I don't, I just went ahead and got the Winner's Circle blueprint, and that comes with akimbos attached to it. From there, a little bit of a change. I'm rocking thermites as well, because once again, you stick a person once, they're going to die. Of course, that's the same now for Simtexes as well, because they buff Simtexes. And that's what I would be rocking, and those are the pistols that I'll be rocking after the Psychoff nerf, after the Diamatti nerf. The M19 still haven't been touched in a long time, and are going to be my secondary pistols of choice when I got Ghost loadouts, restock loadouts, etc. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up as fast as I possibly could, while still providing all the information. Those are the 10 best loadouts, 10 best weapons that you should be seeing across the Warzone. If I missed something, please let me know down below. I've been doing a lot of research into the TTKs. I've been putting a lot of hours in, so I'm telling you what I'm getting gunned by and what I'm finding out. And for each one of these, I'm going to be providing a dedicated video coming up soon about how to use them, with some banger gameplay of them dropping, and any fine-tuning adjustments to the individual attachments, and of course, any updates, any tunings, any patches. I'm your guy. Make sure to drop a subscription here. Turn those noties on so you can be there next. Once again, want to give a huge shout out to my boys over at G Fuel. It is 30% off. If you forgot to check it out at the beginning, check it out now. It's linked in the pinned comment, linked in the bio. It'll get you absolutely cracked out of your mind, but not jittery, not anxious, just smooth, laser focus. I love the stuff. It's helped me even on late nights to like tonight get the workout to you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, you know where to find me, here on Twitch and on YouTube. Peace.